Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to put on our detective hats and dive into a pretty wild math mystery. We're following the clues left behind in a complex proof to crack what looks like a truly colossal equation. Okay, so let's just jump right in and meet the villain of our story. I mean, look at this thing. This is a ninth-degree polynomial, and at first glance, it is an absolute monster. Seriously, where would you even begin? Well, before we even try to tackle that beast, what are we actually looking for? We're on the hunt for the roots of the equation. You can think of them as the secret code. They're the special values of x that make that whole long expression magically equal 0. That's our mission. Now, every good detective needs clues, right? And thankfully, our source material gives us exactly that. We're going to call this our mathematician's codebook. Okay, so this table right here, this is our codebook. These are what the source calls the Q values. Now, these aren't just random numbers. If you look closely, wait a minute. These are the exact same numbers, the coefficients from that giant equation we just saw. These are the key to the whole thing. And make a mental note of that very first one, -54. All right, codebook in hand, it's time to start cracking the case. The source lays out a very specific procedure, a step-by-step process that's designed to help us find a hidden pattern. So what's the plan? Basically, it involves a series of calculations. We need to figure out 9 different values, starting with one called S0R and working our way all the way up to S8R. Each step kind of builds on the one before it. So for step 1, the document applies a specific formula using our first Q value from the codebook. And after all the number crunching, the answer is 0. Okay, interesting. But, it could just be a coincidence. On to the next one. This calculation is a bit more involved. It uses more of our Q values. And the result? It's 0. Again. Okay, now something is definitely going on here. This feels like a real clue. This is not a coincidence anymore. And as the source document methodically works through every single one of these calculations, which, trust me, get way more complex, an absolutely undeniable pattern emerges. From S0R all the way to S8R, every single time, the result is 0. So let's just recap. After all that hard work, we have our findings. Every single one of these S values we were looking for is 0. This isn't just a clue anymore. This is the key that's about to blow this whole case wide open. So you're probably asking, what was the point of all that? Why did we need to find a bunch of zeros? Well, this is where it all comes together. This is where the magic happens. Just take one more look at the equation we started with. Remember all those huge numbers, all those different powers of x? It looked absolutely impossible to solve. And now for the big twist. The source material reveals that this entire polynomial can be rewritten in a different form. You can actually replace all those huge original coefficients with the S values we just found. It's like a mathematical sleight of hand, and it changes everything. And because every single one of those S values is, 0, what happens? All those complicated terms in the middle just, poof, they vanish. The entire equation just collapses into this beautifully simple statement, x to the power of 9 equals 0. So what's the only number that when you multiply it by itself 9 times gives you 0? It has to be 0. That's it. After all that complexity, the equation has only one root, and that root is simply 0. The case is closed. But wait, just when we think we've tied up all the loose ends and solved the mystery, the source leaves us with one final, kind of cryptic clue. It does one last calculation that it doesn't really explain. The very last line of the proof does this one last thing. It takes that first Q value from our codebook, -54, and divides it by the degree of the polynomial, which is 9. The result is -6. Okay, but why? And here's the thing. The source doesn't tell us what this -6 signifies. It's a final, tantalizing piece of the puzzle, just left hanging there. So we're left to wonder, what is the secret of -6? What deeper truth about this equation have we not yet uncovered?